Welcome to another video that I have procrastinated on. It is time to do my series review for The Queen of the Tearling by Erika Johansen. Last month I finished this series and I have not yet done my series review, so here we are. This is, of course, a trilogy. 3 books that look very nice together. So you have The Queen of the Tearling, The Invasion of the Tearling, and The Fate of the Tearling. And here are the covers. So my one problem with the covers is that this one doesn't have a hole in it where the rest of them do. I guess it's not really a big deal. This is a fantasy series set in a quasi-medieval time, and I don't know how I feel about it. Which is the reason I've been putting this off. I've thought really hard about it because I love this book. I rated it 5 out of 5. And then I thought The Invasion of the Tearling didn't quite live up to the expectations set in the first book, and I rated it a 4 out of 5. And I did not like this book very much. I rated it a 3 out of 5. It could have been lower, but it's just, I expected more. So the world does build quite a bit throughout the 3 novels, and the first one, which is significantly shorter than the other ones as well. You're kind of introduced into this world. There's a princess who's been hidden for many years who doesn't really know that she's royal, and you find out a little bit about the past of the world, and then in the second book she starts having flashbacks to the past, which are very interesting. They were actually my favorite parts of this. I found it very similar to A Handmaid's Tale. A lot of the structural society-wise before they came to this new utopia were very similar, and you learn a little bit more about how the utopia was corrupted. And then the final book, you still have this split narrative between what's happening in the present and what's happening in the past. But in this one, you're learning about the more recent past, like what happened after they got to this land, why everything went wrong, and why you aren't living in this beautiful utopia. So, I mean, I think that would have been a better narrative than the narrative that these 3 books had. So the main part of the narrative followed Kelsey Glenn, who is the Glen Queen, who has magical powers and things like that. And she's pretty cool. And I really loved her in the first book. I found her annoying in the second book because she was whiny and she was sleeping with one of her guards and she didn't really have any regards for anyone else's feelings. And then the third book, it was just not good. And she never I didn't find that she really reconciled what happened in the second book and the third book, which I found really annoying. And then there's another plot arc where her mom had agreed to send shipments of people to a neighboring country so that they wouldn't invade her. The Queen of the Tearling, Kelsey, decides that that's not going to happen anymore, and she cancels the shipments and frees all these slaves. In The Invasion of the Tearling, the neighboring country invades them, and Kelsey gives herself up to save her country. And in The Fate of the Tearling, they try to rescue her. She also escapes. There's revolutions happening within this other country, and lots of weird things happen. I'm not entirely sure. There's some magical force up in the mountains that is tied to the past that wants to eat children and all this stuff. And then the ending is terrible. It wraps up too neatly. It was too easy, and I did not like it. So, I don't know. A lot of people love these books. I love the first one. I think you should read the first one, but I think you could skip these 2. I think this is a really good standalone novel, and you don't need to know what happens next, even though I do believe it ends on a cliffhanger. But, that's just my opinion. Overall, I would rate this series a 3 out of 5 because the ending just I think, ruined it all for me. But if you're a real fan of this series and you really like it, good for you. I wish I liked it as much as you do, but here we are. If you've read this series, please let me know your thoughts on it down below. And if you watched this whole video and you got spoiled, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.